The day my family asked me to temporarily give my penthouse to my sister, they spoke as if it was the most reasonable request in the world. She just needs stability, my mother said softly, like she was asking me to pass the salt. My father nodded. You're doing well. You can manage anywhere. She can't. I sat there listening, feeling something familiar rise in my chest. That old pressure, that old role I had played my entire life. The responsible one, the adjustable one, the one who sacrifices quietly. The penthouse wasn't just an apartment. I had worked for years to afford it. Long nights, extra shifts, savings, discipline. It was the first thing in my life that felt fully mine. No help, no favors, no one else's contribution. And now they were asking me to hand it over like it was a spare room. She'll only stay a few months, my sister added, avoiding eye contact, until I figure things out. I knew what a few months meant in our family. Forever. I should have said no. Every logical part of my mind screamed no. But years of conditioning are powerful. Years of being told you're the strong one, the understanding one, the mature one. So I nodded. Okay. The relief on their faces was instant. Too instant. That should have been my first warning. Within a week, my sister had moved in. My furniture was rearranged. My decorations were removed. My things were packed into boxes like I was the guest, and she was the owner. I moved into a small rental apartment across the city. Temporary, I told myself. Every night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, feeling a quiet discomfort I couldn't fully explain. It wasn't anger. It wasn't sadness. It was the realization that once again, I had been pushed out of something that belonged to me. 2 weeks later, I decided to stop by the penthouse to pick up some documents I had left behind. When I arrived, I noticed something strange. The nameplate outside the door no longer had my name on it. It had hers. I froze. I rang the bell. My sister opened the door, surprised to see me. Oh, you should have called first, she said quickly, stepping outside instead of letting me in. Why is your name on the door? I asked calmly. She hesitated. Mom and Dad thought it would look better. Since I'm staying here. Something felt off. Deeply off. I didn't argue. I didn't make a scene. I just nodded and left. That night, I couldn't sleep. A quiet instinct kept telling me this wasn't temporary. Something had happened behind my back. The next morning, I called the building management. And that's when the ground shifted under me. Sir, the ownership documents were updated last week. The manager said, we assumed you were informed. My hand tightened around the phone. Updated how? The property is now listed under your sister's name. I felt my heart drop into my stomach. I never signed anything. I said slowly. There was silence on the other end. Sir, we have signed transfer papers on file. I hung up without saying another word. My mind raced. Papers? Signatures? I had signed nothing. Then I remembered. A few weeks before this, my father had asked me to sign some insurance-related documents for the apartment. I had signed them without reading carefully. I trusted him. I trusted them. And they had used that trust to take the one thing I had built for myself. I didn't cry. I didn't call them. I didn't confront anyone. I just sat there, staring at the wall, feeling something inside me go completely still. Not broken. Cold. That evening, I went for a long walk to clear my head. I ended up sitting on a bench near a small park, replaying everything in my mind. That's when an older man sat beside me. He had a calm presence, kind eyes. He looked at me for a moment and said, you look like someone who just realized they were betrayed. I almost laughed. You have no idea, I said quietly. He listened as I explained everything. The penthouse, the papers, the trust, the transfer. When I finished, he asked me a question that changed everything. Did you ever check what you signed? I shook my head. He nodded slowly. I used to work in property law, and I can tell you one thing for sure. Transfers like this don't happen without witnesses and legal verification. I looked at him, confused. What do you mean? He smiled slightly. I mean, someone has made a very big mistake thinking you won't look deeper. I kept staring at the transfer file in my hands, reading the same lines again and again. Ownership transferred, witnessed, verified, except none of it was real. The old man's words echoed in my mind. Transfers like this don't happen without legal verification. The next morning, I went straight to the land records office and asked for a certified copy of everything. The clerk didn't ask questions. He just printed the file and handed it to me. The moment I opened it, I knew. The signature looked like mine, but it wasn't written with a pen. It was flat, scanned, placed. The witnesses were two names I had never heard before, and the notary stamp belonged to a district office I had never visited in my life. My chest tightened, but my mind became strangely calm. This wasn't misunderstanding. This was fraud. I stepped outside and called the number the old man had given me for a lawyer. Within an hour, I was sitting across from her while she flipped through the papers silently. After a few minutes, she looked up. They thought you wouldn't check. I didn't say anything. She tapped the document. This is illegal in at least 3 ways. Forged witnesses, fake notary, digitally copied signature. This can become a criminal case very quickly. I felt something shift inside me. All my life, I had seen my family as unfair, biased, emotionally hurtful. But this was planned, deliberate, carefully executed. We'll file a legal notice first, she said. That will freeze the property. They won't be able to sell it, rent it, or do anything until this is resolved. I nodded. For the first time, I wasn't thinking like the quiet, adjusting child. I was thinking like someone who had finally seen the truth clearly. That evening, my phone started ringing. My mother, then my sister, then my father. I didn't answer any of them because for the first time, I wasn't reacting emotionally. I was responding legally. 2 days later, they received the notice, and the panic began. They called nonstop after the notice arrived. Messages, missed calls, long texts about misunderstanding and family matters. I read them without feeling the old pull to explain myself. A meeting was set at my lawyer's office. They arrived early, quiet, uneasy. My sister wouldn't look at me. My mother's eyes were red. My father kept clearing his throat like he wanted to speak, but couldn't find the words. The documents were placed on the table one by one. Fake witnesses, false notary, scanned signature. My lawyer spoke calmly. This qualifies as criminal fraud. My client can take this to the police. The word police changed everything. My mother's voice shook. We didn't think it would go this far. I looked at her steadily. You already took it that far. Within an hour, they signed the reversal papers. Full ownership returned to me. A written admission. Legal acknowledgement. No arguments. No drama. Just fear of consequences. As we stood to leave, my father said softly, "You could have talked to us." I paused at the door. I did. For years. You just never listened. That evening, I went back to the penthouse alone and removed my sister's name from the door. For the first time, I wasn't reclaiming a home. I was reclaiming myself.